So let's start our class. So this is the day 5, and today we're going to cover the HTTP module. Okay. Yesterday we have talked about the GET request. Now in day 5, in today's class, we'll talk about the POST request. Got it? Now before we move to the topic, do you guys have any doubt regarding yesterday's class? Anyone? Regarding labs, practicals that we have? Garv, any doubt? And Aryan? Okay. So let's start the class. Okay. So let's talk about post. Now we have different methods in HTTP. We have already talked this. So in yesterday's class we have talked about the get method. Now in today's class we'll talk about the post method, right? Now in a web application, post requests are used for tasks like file upload or sending user data without including it in the URL. So this is the different from get request and post request, right? When we use get request, our data is directly sent in the URL. Got it? And when we use post request, our data is directly sent in the body. So is that clear? Is that clear? Okay. Now I think you both have understand what is URL and what is body, right? Or do I have to explain it? Anyone? So do I have to explain it or it is fine? Yeah, okay, then let's move. Now, why we use post request, let's discuss, and why we don't use get request. So when we use a get request now, our data is sent using the URL, and there might be a possibility that the URL will log in our system, right? So if you check the logs, it will show what data you have in your URL. So this is a sensitive data exposure kind of attack, right? So to overcome this, we use post, and post request sends data in the request body. So the if a URL logs, then it only logs the website name and not the actual data. So this is the one thing, right? And in URL, we cannot send the large data because URL comes with the restrictions. So let's say if I want to send a 1 GB file, so it is not possible to send in the URL. To overcome this, we have to use the post request to send the large file. And in URL, we use less encoding technologies or less encoding mechanisms. But yeah, in post request we use less encoding mechanisms as compared to the URL. In URL, we have to decode some certain things, like if there is a space, we have to encode that. If there is a backslash, if there is a comma, if there is a colon, we have to encode this thing in order to send the URL data safely. But we don't have to do this in post request. Okay. And this is the URL limit. So we can only send these characters in a URL. If you exceed this character, then the request won't happen, right? It will show you the error. And that is why we use post request. Got it? Now let's have a look how a post request look like. So here we have the login form, right? If we try to log in and if we provide a username and password, it sends as a post request We can check this in a dev tool. So this is how it looks. So here we have the method, that is post, our URL, and here we have the data. Okay, we can also send this using curl. Now to send the post request in curl, we have to mention the method, right? So -x is used to define the method. So if you want to send the post method, just define -x space post. And let's say if I want to send this data, I have to use -d. D means data, and inside double quote or single quote, I have to mention my data. So that is username and password, and then the website name. Got it? So any question here? Perfect. So now this is just an example of how a post request will look like. And yeah, we can send this thing in curl. Now let's have a practical demonstration of how this happens or how this look. So let me share my screen. You just wait. Sorry for the let's move with the practical. So here, this is our lab. So let's open our browser. I think let me share my screen. Now, is my screen visible, everyone? Now let's look how our post request will look like. So, Garv, can you please tell me the IP address? Yeah, 94 dot 237 dot 53.18, and what is the port? 5593. Okay, if I hit enter, so we'll see that here we have the login page. Now, yesterday, we have different kind of a login page, and today we have a different kind of a login page. Why? Because yesterday we are using HTTP based authentication, and today we are using the form authentication. Okay, so this type of authentication is known as form based authentication, and this type of authentication mechanism by default use post request to send the data. Got it? Now if we hit our username and password, let me try it. So this is a username and this is a password. If I click enter, you can see that okay, I'm in login, right? And if I check how my data goes, so I have to just go in network tab, reload the page again. It asks. Now if we reload it, we can see that this much of requests are happening, right? And we can check that okay, these all are get request, and here we have the post request. So in post request, we have sent our data before asking our root page, right? And here we have the request. Uh, and here you can see we have the post method, and this is our website. Now here we can see if we have cookies or not. So yeah, we have the cookies. Here we can see our response, right? So this is our response. Now this is our request, right? If we click on request, we'll see that this data has been sent using our post method. So we can simply check it in a raw format. So this is a raw format. If you want to use curl to send the same data, you have to use the raw format. Okay, now let's use curl to do the same thing. Let's see how can we send the post data. So in order to send the post data, first we have to identify the method, right? And to identify the method, we use hyphen capital X and then the method name. So we have the post method, and this is the URL, right? And if I want to send the data, so I can like add data using the hyphen D, and I have to send the data inside the double quote. So this is the data, right? So let's copy the data, copy it. Okay, not a new request. Yeah, paste the data. Now first, if I click enter, you'll see that we are successfully logged in, right? So this is a successful login request. But if I don't send username and password, in this case, if I don't send this, I'll definitely get an error. So here we have the error method. So here it is saying that this thing, right? It redirects us to login page. But in this case, we have the type a city and hit enter. That means we are logged in, because after login we have the same functionality, right? Type city name and hit enter. So this is how we can send the post request. Got it? Now any question? Anyone? Sid, Aryan and Garv. Any question here? Okay. Yeah. Let's move. If no question, then let's move with our next topic. Now, so we have seen how to send post data and post request using curl. Now let's understand the authentication. Okay. If we send post request, our request directly goes to the server, and server identifies our username and password, and based on that server provides us a authentication token, right? And that authentication token will look like this. So username and password, we have this, right? And that authentication token is look like this. So we have a response header that sets set cookies, and here we have the cookie value, right? And we can simply use this cookie value to identify our authentication whenever we made a request. Got it? The same thing we did in get request, the same thing we are doing with post request. Got it? Now let's understand how to get a cookie using curl. Got it? So we know how to send the request, right? We know how to send a request. Now can anyone please tell me, if I want to check the cookie, what I have to use? What I have to use here? What flag I have to use here? Yes, Garv, Aryan, Sid. If I want to check the response header, what flag I have to pass in curl? Yeah, so let's do it. So this is our post request. Let's see if we have set cookie headers or not. Okay, so it is saying that you can only select one HTTP request method. You asked for the both, right? So in this case, let us do one thing. Okay, let us do this. Now here we'll get the like logged in information, and here we have the response, right? And what our response is that okay, 200, okay, will I have identified your authentication and you are authorized to access the page. Now in order to make any further request, you have to set this cookie and you have to send any request with that cookie. So this is how we can check the cookie. Now after once we check our cookie, right, we can send our cookie using curl, and we can simply check if we are able to log in or not. So to send the cookie, we used -b and then cookie. So let's try it. So let's try. Let me first copy the cookie. So this is the cookie value. I just have to copy the cookie value because I'm not sending the headers, right? So here, this is the post data. Now I don't have to send this. So instead of this, I have to use B because I have the cookie, right? I can simply send the cookie. If I hit enter, you can see that I am logged in. Type a city name and hit enter. So I am inside the website. Now the website says, okay, now this time our website verifies our identity by using this cookie. Got it? So this is how we can send the username in get request, send the username in post request, send the cookies. Is that clear? Any question here? Okay. Now sometime what happen is, once you provide successful credentials, some website will redirect you to next page. Let's say that there is a dashboard page, login page, file page. So if you want to view the redirection, you can simply use -l. Okay. Now in this case, it is not redirecting me, but still I can show you how you can use the -l option. Let me clear this. Yeah, -l. So capital L. So if there is a redirection, it directly shows, right, if there is a redirection or not. And for redirection, what is the response code we'll get from server? Anyone? If the yes, yeah, that's correct. We'll receive a 302. Got it? Now let's understand the data. So far we have understand how to send like login details. Let's say we have some data, how to send that data, let's understand. So in this case, we are sending the JSON data. Okay, so when we interact with the features like search, post request may send data in JSON format. Just remember this thing, right? Post request send data in JSON format, but the format can be changed, right? It depends on the website, what what they are using to send the data. Now let's say we have the search function. I search London, right? So this is how we have to send the data. We have to first use curl -x post and here is the D, and we have to make, or we have to send our data in JSON format. And then here we have our cookie, and here we can simply send the header. Okay, we can simply send the header. Now you have to remember, when you have to send the header, use -h, and this is our header. We have covered what is header, right? And what are the different headers we have covered. To send the data we use this, and to send the cookie we use this. So don't confuse in this. Okay, is that clear? Is that clear, Garv, Arden, Sid? Okay, now let's try to send a basic post data. So I'm simply logged in my website, right? Let's search London. If I search London, it provides the detailed information, right? Now I can send the post data, but for that I have to check how the data is sending, right? So for that, how can I identify this? Can anyone tell me? Garv and Sid, try to send the post data and search London. Garv, yeah, please try to send the post data. Sid, you can also do this. You can guide Garv if he lags in between. We can. This is a post request. The method and the thing you are using, that is only applicable for the get request, but here we are using post request, right? So we can. And just before that, I have show you how we can send the post data to login, right? So yeah, so follow that same method. Yeah, use your brain and successfully send one data. Check the response code. Check the response. Check the response code. Hmm. Yeah, because we are not logging and it is says that you have to log in. But we don't have to do this, right? We have the cookies, right? But yeah, you can simply send the username and password if you want. Yeah, is this the okay? But this will not work in practical real life. Okay. Now you can please search the term London. You are logged in because it is showing that type a city name and hit enter. That means you have logged in. You need to username and password. Otherwise, you need a cookie to verify that you are authenticated person. No, it will not work. It is directly identifying on the basis of username and password. It is not taking this data. If it would take this data, then we have the like search result here. Now it is simply saying that type a city name and hit enter. So Sid, you can guide it here. You can guide Aryan here. Sorry, Garv. Try to find. It is saying that you have to log in because yeah, here we have the login, right? So that is the login form. You are redirected in login page. Yeah. So Sid, is it possible for you to do this and show us? Yeah, perfect. Okay, okay. Hmm. Yeah, okay, perfectly fine. Yeah. So you are logged in, but where's the search term? It is not showing anything. Okay, so just hand over the lab to me. So please be careful, huh? Because if you lag in assignment, or in practical, if you don't focus it here, then you're not able to crack the skill assessment, right? And this is totally like needed for you to be hands-on in real world. So here, let me let's understand. Let me log out. If I hit enter, so I have the login page, right? I have to log in. So when I type my username and password, that is admin, 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 and admin. If I hit enter, before that, I want to show you the network tab. And please be careful and please look what request it made. So if I click login, you can simply says that you can simply see it sends lot of requests, right? Now what is the first request it sends? So we have to go here. So this shows that first request. After this, it shows the second, third, fourth sequence wise, right? So that is our first request, that is the post. And this is the file that we are accessing, that is the root directory of every website. So in a root directory, we have the main page of our website, right? And we want to access this. So click here. Here we have the method post. Here we have the headers that used here. We have the cookie here. So after login, server sends a header, right? That is the response header that mentions set cookie. Server provides us the value to set the cookie, and browser stores that here in storage section. Okay, so we can simply check it here. Here we have the cookie. Got it? And here we have the request. We can simply check what type of request we made. So in this case, we made this request. And in order to use this request, or in order to use this data with CRUD, you have to just click raw. Now the data is in the raw format. You have to directly paste this data in CRUD using -d. Okay, you cannot made your own data own format because every website runs with different data in different format. So you have to understand how to view the data. Got it? Now let me show you how we can simply search the term here. Let's say I search London. Okay, I search London. If I hit enter, I made some request. So here the post request, and if I you can please mute yourself. There's a noise coming out from your mic. So here we have the post request. Click on it and simply go on request. So we can see that this is how our request going on. Got it? And we know how our request is going on. So what we can do is we can simply search it using curl. So in this case, let me log in first. If I log in now, just understand one thing, huh? Here the data is sending differently. Got it? The data is sending differently, and in other way the data is sending differently. So you have to make it clear. Now let me copy this and let me go with other terminal, paste it here. So this is our cookie, right? Right here. So this is our cookie. So we have the cookie. Instead of this, we can simply paste the cookie. I'm using double quote to paste the cookie. You can use the single quote also. Now I have to send the data. -d double quote, and this is how my data is sending. Copy the data, go in terminal, paste the data. Now just look at carefully. This time we have the brackets here when we are sending the data. But here, when we are sending the data, we don't have any brackets, right? We don't have any brackets. We just have the username and password. So this is the different. So this is the difference, and this is why you have to check how your data is traveling to identify how you have to use the curl and how you have to pass the data in it. So if I click enter, we can simply have a look on London. So this is how we have to send the data. So anyone, any query here? Okay, now we'll do a lab, huh? So we know how to send a data using curl. Now this exercise you have to try it your own. Okay. So Aryan, what you can do is, Aryan, are you with us? Hello, Aryan. Hello. I think Aryan is not with us. So Sid and Gad, what you can do is you can try the same thing to send the data. Use different website. Use shopping website to log in and try to send the data using the post method with the help of curl, and check if you are able to log in or not, right? You can use any shopping site to send the data. Got it? And you can use the fetch API like we have used yesterday. So you can also use the fetch API to do the same thing. Now here is a lab. So obtain a session cookie through a valid login and then use the cookie with curl to search for the flag through a JSON post request to search.php. Okay. One thing here, you have to solve the lab, right? So you can do this thing. So Garv, are you ready? Yeah, please. So this is the question. You can simply try to log in using the curl. You have the credential and send the post request to get the flag, and you have to send your post request in this location slash search.php. So please get the flag. Then we have to move in our next topic. Yeah, everything is same. Yeah, you have to search for the flag, but you have to first log in it. You have to log in the website, and then you have to identify uh, how our data is sending. Garv, you have to log in web, yeah, in the browser, because we open the incognito mode. At first we don't know na how the data is traveling, so we don't know if it is using the post request, get request, right? So we have to identify what request it is using. For that we can use a browser, and it will tells us what is the request, and based on that we have to use curl. Now check what is the our first request. So this is our first request, right? So it is using post, and here we have the cookies. Now you can use this cookie to make curl request, so you don't have to pass the login details. Here we have the, yeah, this is our last request, right? You have to check how our request is made. Yeah. So this is how our request is going on. Now analyze the response and find out the flag. You have to analyze the response. So you did some mistake in request, right? So that is why you are not able to see the flag. So you have done some mistake here. Yeah, in the cookie. Yeah. You can use the single quote, double quote, but you have done some mistake in sending cookie or pasting the cookie. So just look at the value of cookie and then please make your request. Control Shift V to paste it. Yeah. Hit enter. Now try to search. Don't do anything. Now try to search. You are redirected to the login page. I think you did something wrong here. You can, you can. Again, don't give the space there. Now you are logged in, right? Now try to search the flag. Try to search the flag. But why it is not retrieving? So here's the question. Just look at the question. You can check how it how the search function works. First, you have to check how the search function works. This is your search function. So this is how your search term is going on. And what is the page that is responsible for search? Yeah. So before that, in what page you are making request? What page you made a request? You made a request in root page, right? That is slash. Yeah. So that is slash, right? But after slash, we directly have a login page. Search is only responsible by search.php. So this is the page that handles the search request. Now, what happened here? Please guess. There is something issue with your request. It is sending the get request. You have to make sure that it sends the post. Now, what is the problem here? Figure it out. Okay, good. We have to move forward and you have to solve this lab, huh? Make sure you solve the lab, okay? And please analyze your mistakes that you have done here. So let's move to our new topic, that is APIs. Now, in post, we have seen that how a web application can make a request using post data, and to search anything, we use search.php and parameters. But what if that application has using a API? So in that case, how a request will look like? Let's talk. Okay. So let me copy it here. This is the API. You'll get the notes for this code. Huh? So before we move forward, any doubt here? Anyone? Gaurav, any doubt? Sid? Now let's learn about APIs. So we have the CRUD API. Now we already saw example of a city search web application that used the PHP parameter search.php to search a city name in our previous section, like we have already talked in with get and post. Now what happen if the same web application and this use API to perform the same task, and we have to analyze how it use and how it look like. Okay, so what is API? So API is a like a application programming interface. So it use a mechanism, or it's simply used to fetch data from databases. So let me give a quick example of API. So here we have a user, here we have a server, and here we have a database, here we have a cloud, here we have a database. Now what happened is, let's understand carefully. If user search London, it directly goes to, if user search, let's say if user search about London, right? So request directly goes here using search.php, and the request directly goes in database using the same search.php or any database query here, and then database return this to server returns this to directly user. Got it? This is how it works in old days. But now to do the same thing, we use API. So user directly search anything. Let's say user wants to search the London, it request directly goes to the server. Now server use APIs to contact database. Server might use API to contact different cloud services, and using this APIs server can simply get the data, right? And on the basis of that data, server simply provides us the data. So API is used to do the same thing. Got it? API is reliable. API provides some security options. That is why most people use APIs instead of sending the request using the code. Okay, got it? Any question here? Garvsid, Aryan? Okay, so, so we understand what is API. Now, API use a different HTTP method, okay, that is known as CRUD. So API basically depends on CRUD option. So CRUD is a functionality, or you can say a option that used in APIs. So C means for create, R means for read, U means for update, D means for delete. And if we together spell it, it becomes CRUD. So it is CRUD API or CRUD function. Got it? Now, create is used to add a data. Got it? So we can add a data here, and yeah, this is how our post request will look like. So first we have to send the post request here, then again we have to send the data here. Instead of search.php, we have api.php, and after that we have one more directory, that is city, and after that we are providing the data. So this means that inside the city, we want to add this data, right? Same. If we want to read it or if we want to get some data, we can simply search it like this. Girl, I want to search what is after city. So here we have the city and I want to search this thing, London. If I want to update it, I can simply do it like this. So curl and then put method. So put is used to update the data, or modify the data. Let's say I have a London and I want to change the name. So in that case, I have to modify it, and to modify the data, our API sends put request. So we can simply alter this thing. So here put our server location, then we have the data here, and we can simply paste the headers also. Got it? Now in this case, we mentioned London. So it simply means that I want to alter or I want to update this entry. And at the end we have delete. We can remove data from server databases. So this is how it looks. So here we can simply send delete request, server, city, and our city name, what we want to delete it. So this is our CRUD function. So is that clear? Any confusion here? Aryan Garv did. Now again here we have the lab. So it simply says that first try to update any city to the flag, then delete any city. Once done, search for city name flag to get the flags. So here you also have to get the flag. In order to get the flag, what you have to do is you have to update a city name to flag, then you have to delete that city, or you have to delete any city, then again you have to search the city name, that is flag. And if you do this thing, you'll get the flag. Okay, so we have to use the same thing. We have the same website here. Instead of search, we have api.php. So it is api.php/city. Okay, perfectly fine. Before that, let me show you something. Okay, let me show you how to solve this lab. Okay, the next lab you have to do it at your own. Or Garv, you want to solve it, you want to solve this lab at your own, and for API, do I have to show one demo? Okay, perfectly. So let's do the API one. Just wait, huh? So let's do the API lab. So here is the URL. If I paste it here, I see nothing. Okay, wait, huh? If I do anything, I cannot see anything, right? So let's try api.php. So it is saying that incorrect table name. So here we have city. So here we have different cities, right? This is how API actually works. So this is, so here we have different cities. Got it? Now I can simply search a city. let's say London. So it is showing me the London city, right? Now I want to get a flag. Before that, is it possible that I can simply search Delhi? I can search, but will it show me the results? What do you think? So it is not in the database, right? So if I want to add this thing in database, so do I have any option to add it? I don't have any option, right? So for that, I can simply do what? I can simply check what request the website is sending. So it is sending the GET request. Perfect. Now let's use curl to identify if there is any request or not. So curl -x and we use head, not Delhi. We use, yeah, this thing. Sorry. Wait, huh? So if I send like this, so it is saying that okay, setting customer header to move head with X request may not work. You may want to consider I instead of head. Okay, so let's use this. So again, there is some mistake. Wait. So by default, if we send head in city or in search.php, we can see that it is saying that okay, you cannot send head using X, right? You cannot send head request or head method by using X to specify it. So in that case, we don't know whether the web application is accepting the request or not. So in that case, what we have to do? Hmm? Can anyone tell me? In that case, what we have to do? Anyone? No one? So we can check options, right? If it is again not showing, then we can simply move with other thing. City, we want to search this thing. Now, let's use get. Now, if we use get, we are getting the response. Let me use post. So I'm getting an error, right? Why I'm getting error? Can anyone tell me? Aryan Sid, Garv. Yeah, Again, anyone? So see, we can send post request, right? But we have to specify the data here. So we haven't specified any data. So let's say that this API accept all the request, accept all the CRUD functionality. Now, in order to send the data, I have to give the data, right? So let me give the data here. Oh, not Delhi, London, right? Let me search. So yeah, it shows me the city name London. So here we have the location London. If we simply go here, request, we don't have anything. Again, we cannot see anything here. So in that case, what we have to do, we have response here. So in response, we are getting this thing. We can simply do it in raw. Select this thing, copy it. So this is the response we are getting from the server. And if we don't have any request, so we have to, or we can simply use the format of response to send the data. So let's try it to do this. -d, I'm using double quote. Yeah, now here we have London, right? And country name is UK. So we don't have Delhi, right? So in order to, if I want to update the entry here, what method I have to use? So what method do I have to use? Can anyone tell me? Yeah. So here we have put. So we can simply use put to update or modify the existing data. So this is the option, and this is how we have to send the data. Got it? And from where I got this thing? Can anyone tell me where I got this thing? Where I got this thing? Yes, in the response. So that is why DevTool is very important for us to understand how a website request and response. Now let's do this. Yeah, let's use put. Hopefully it accepts put. It might possible that it don't accept put. We have to check. We don't know anything. I want to update London and I want to update with Delhi. And let's make the country like this. If I hit enter, I can see that syntax error near token this. So it means that I have to do what? Curve RN, I have to do what? Here. Any idea? You can look it here, right? So you can look it here. What is the mistake? Can you identify the mistake? Anyone? Yeah. So we don't have the bracket in JSON format, right? Again, it is saying that syntax error. Now, what is wrong here? What is wrong here? So here is a hint, right? So after this, there is a hint. So syntax error unexpected token this. We look at the browser. So network tab. So here we have this thing, and this is the request. Here we have this thing. Anyone? So this is a string, right? It again okay. So what we can do is we can simply copy as curl, and let me try to do where's the okay, then this, then paste it over. Now here we have the whole request, we have the headers, but do we have any data here? We don't have any data, right? Try to send this. If we do, we'll get this thing. So let's repeat this and specify a header here. So we can specify this header content type. Where's the content type here? This is the accept, and the application defined double quote in type. If I click enter, I'll see that text error near token. So we are getting the same error, right? So we have to figure it out here. So before we move, can anyone point what is wrong here? So you can use your own method to fix the issue. We have the issue, right? We have to fix the issue. Sid, you can try to fix the issue. Garv, you can also try. Okay, so let's try to do this. This is a single quote. Anyone, any guesses? If we hit enter, we can see that the request has successful, right? So can anyone tell me why this happens? Yeah, that's correct. So you have to understand, whenever we send data, we can use either double quote or single quote, but we have to understand when to use what. In this case, I use double quote, right? But inside this, it already has double quote. So it is not reading the data. It is reading is at, it is reading this, it is reading is alone, right? So it is not considering that this is a post data. But if in this case, inside this, it has a single quote, then I have to use the double quote here, right? So this is the logic how we use single quote and double quote. Got it? And this is the thing you have to point it out whenever you do the practical, right? In real world, you face this type of issue with every tool. So some tool supports double quote, some supports single quote. If there is a space, like here we have the space, to counter the space, we also use single quote and double quote in Linux. So this is the problem, right? You have to take it. Now, here we can see that we use put method. So this is our URL. We change the London and here we made it Delhi. We get the 200. Okay, that means server accept the put request. That means we are able to change the data in database. Now let's move back in our website. So is it possible to now search the London? Sorry, search the Delhi. Yeah, if I click enter, we can simply check that, okay, here we have the city Delhi. Got it? So this is how we can update using the CRUD option. And we can do the same thing if website is not using API, or if it is using API. But if there is a, we can simply send this type of request or this type of method to any website, then you have to try it to alter the data of it, right? Now you know how to look for the data, how to look for the search term, right? And how to identify, modify the data, right? Got it? So if a website is using uh, put method, post method, delete method, so you can try to delete the data, you can try to update the data. It doesn't matter if we have the functionality to do this or not. In website we don't have functionality to update, modify, right? But just because the server accepts methods, we use these methods to alter it. And that is the beauty of curl. Got it? Is that clear? Now here we have the lab. So this is, so you have to solve the lab. Okay, you have to do this. So let's do a QA. So this is our last class, and we have completely we have successfully complete our HTTP module. After that we have a skill assessment. For that, you can simply take the labs, right? You can practice the labs. So once you are done, you can simply let me know, and after that we can simply do the practice. You got it? So any question? Garv, Aryan, Sid? Okay, perfect. So yeah, if you don't have any QA, so we can simply wrap up here. So how do you like the class? Garv, Aryan, Sid, how do you find today's class? Okay. And yeah, please do the practicals, huh? So Sid, if it is possible to perform it, you can also please perform the practicals, okay? Okay then. Yeah, Garv, Aryan, we don't have Sid, right? Okay. So Garv, Aryan, thank you for joining the class.